Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the Funimation dub of episode 59 of Dragonball Super. Picking up where we last left off, this episode begins with Zamasu surprised to see Goku, Shin, Beerus, and Whis have arrived on the planet of the Kais of Universe 10. But he tries to maintain his cover and not give away his true intentions by politely greeting them along the lines of, "Oh, it's nice to have another visit of guests from Universe 7. And your name is Goku, if I'm not mistaken, yes?" So he's trying to pretend he doesn't really remember Goku all that well, even though in reality, we know that he's become quite obsessed with Goku as of late. Beerus claims that the reason they're here is because Goku kept insisting on having another sparring match with Zamasu, but he says that they'll wait until after Zamasu and Gowasu finish up their meal. And Beerus also mentions that he's about to take a nap soon anyway. Before they leave though, Whis gives Gowasu a present, some snacks from Earth. To be more specific, there are some rice cakes, or a type of rice cake anyway, and some ingredients for tea. And Gowasu is quite grateful about this gift because he mentions that Universe 10 is big on tea and cake. So the four characters from Universe 7 leave Gowasu's temple, but they end up going into space, and Whis puts up a barrier around them, and then he uses his holo screen so that they can watch Zamasu and Gowasu from a distance. Beerus and Whis both mention that they could feel or sense Zamasu's murderous intent. And the reason for that is because destroyers and the assistants of destroyers are able to pick up on murderous intent much easier compared to other characters. But even with the ability to sense the murderous intent from Zamasu, Beerus and Whis still say that they need absolute proof of Zamasu's crimes before they take action. So for now, all they can do is play the waiting game. The next scene takes us to the alternate timeline, and we see Goku Black and future Zamasu are in a cabin in the woods. And essentially, they're playing the waiting game too. They're just waiting for the Saiyan trio, Goku, Vegeta, and Future Trunks to return, because future Zamasu mentions that fighting Goku is the best way for Goku Black to become more powerful. And he also comments on the irony of them using a mortal in order to further their main plan, which they refer to as Project Zero Mortals. And future Zamasu also wonders if maybe they should have made a wish on the Super Dragon Balls to grant Goku Black invincibility, which future Zamasu now has. Goku Black's response to this is along the lines of, "There's no need for a shield when you wield an especially mighty sword." Essentially, he's saying that he's so powerful, and the possibility of him becoming even more powerful makes invincibility seem unnecessary to him. And elsewhere within the alternate timeline, we also see that the refugees and the human resistance are also playing the waiting game, waiting for the Saiyan trio to return so they can come up with a new plan to defeat Goku Black and future Zamasu. So now we're back in the main timeline, and we're at Capsule Corporation. Vegeta is in the gravity train. he's in the gravity chamber to continue training, and Bulma is making some minor repairs to the time machine. And Future Trunks is sitting by himself, and he's still feeling depressed over how they weren't able to defeat Goku Black and Future Zamasu yet. Present Trunks notably isn't thrilled about Future Trunks acting depressed, so he tries to get him to snap out of his depression by insulting him and trying to pick a fight with him. So yeah, you could say it's a very, it's a way of trying to get people out of their depression that would make the Saiyan Prince proud. Or it's the kind of way to snap someone out of their depression that you would expect Vegeta to do. And he actually did a few episodes earlier, but I digress. So now we're back with Universe 10. And Gowasu is enjoying the snack that Whis provided him. And Zamasu stands up and he walks up to Gowasu. Gowasu is still sitting down, and Zamasu is now standing behind Gowasu. Yeah, Zamasu is now standing behind Gowasu, and he's telling his mentor along the lines of, "I now understand what you were saying about the balance between good and evil, Master Gowasu. It seems sometimes some evil deeds can be necessary in order for a greater good to emerge." And while he's talking, and while Gowasu isn't paying attention, Zamasu pulls out his energy blade attack, and yeah, he attacks Gowasu. And Gowasu, and by extension, the destroyer of Universe 10, have been killed. But it gets undone thanks to Whis' temporal do-over. Goku even admits that he forgot about Whis' temporal do-over ability. Beerus says they now have absolute proof of Zamasu's crimes. So Whis manages to pull out what he calls a kitten mitten, and then he manages to place it on Zamasu's hand in order to protect Gowasu from the energy blade attack. So when Zamasu attempts to slay Gowasu, the kitten mitten is over his hand now, so it ends up with a scene like this. And he just doesn't understand what's happening. And then that's when the 4 characters from Universe 7 return to the temple, and Whis pulls off the kitten mitten to expose the energy blade attack that Zamasu was preparing. And they also explain how Zamasu wanted to kill Gowasu to steal the title of Supreme Kai so he could have the time rings, so he could skip the waiting to use the Super Dragon Balls. And they give their hypothesis, or Whis' hypothesis, about how Zamasu plans to wish for invincibility and then wish for a clone of Goku to act as his servant to carry out his plan to eradicate all mortals. And Zamasu, now that the cat's out of the bag, Zamasu admits that he believes that he must eradicate all evil, and that he must fulfill divine justice, as he puts it. Goku also brings up how he went to Future Trunks' timeline, so he saw with his own eyes what Future Zamasu and Goku Black have done in the alternate timeline. All of the misery that they've caused. And Zamasu is quite happy when he hears this. He says along the lines of, "So it seems my future does become a reality. That's all the more reason why I can't allow you fools to interfere with my plans." So he's trying to attack Goku with the energy blade attack, but then Beerus grabs his hand, and Beerus says along the lines of, "Sorry, Kai, but you're out of time now. Hakai." And when he says that, Zamasu starts to disintegrate out of existence. And yeah, it's not just merely dying, like his soul is gone. His soul no longer exists anymore after this technique. So, and it was quite a painful way to go. Zamasu was screaming in agony as he was being disintegrated. And after the deed is done, all Gowasu can respond with is not to be. So now the Universe 7 characters have now returned to Universe 7. Shin apparently went his separate way before Goku, Beerus, and Whis returned to Earth. And by the time those three characters returned to Earth, present Trunks and future Trunks have finished their, I guess you could call it a pep talk. And Beerus tells him that he's eliminated Zamasu. And he's confident that means future Zamasu and Goku Black shouldn't be around in future Trunks' timeline now. But future Trunks is still skeptical because future Trunks brings up that during the time of the Android Saga and the Cell Saga, defeating the androids in Cell of one timeline didn't affect their alternate timeline counterparts. So, for example, future Trunks and Krillin ended up killing present Cell, but killing present Cell didn't affect the Cell who stole a time machine and came to the main timeline, the Cell who became the main villain of the Cell Saga, and it also didn't affect future Cell, the Cell from future Trunks' timeline. So that's why future Trunks is still skeptical that Goku Black and future Zamasu have been stopped. But Beerus responds that the results should be different because he claims that a god killing another god should affect all timelines, or that's what he says anyway. So future Trunks says that he needs to see with his own eyes if his timeline really is safe now, and that's how we end the episode. So this episode, present Zamasu's actions have finally come to a stop anyway. So present Zamasu is stopped before he can fulfill the objectives that we saw with future Zamasu and Goku Black. So I guess you could say present Zamasu could be considered a big bad wannabe, a villain who tries to be the main villain but falls short compared to the actual main villain or main villains in the case of this saga, because this saga features a big bad duumvirate, co-main villains in an alliance with one another in the form of Goku Black and future Zamasu. Now, some people might say big bad and main villain aren't necessarily synonyms, but I think that's opening up a whole other can of worms. So I digress for now. And yeah, the scene where Beerus used his technique to eradicate Zamasu from existence was pretty terrifying. It goes to show that Beerus can have his moments of being silly, but beware the silly ones. You don't want to mess with a destroyer, or you don't want to be enemies with a destroyer. And yeah, for some fans who are wondering, they ended up referring to it as Hakai in the Funimation dub. That's what it's called in the sub version. That word translates as destruction or destroy. That's essentially that goes along with the subtitle the title for the destroyers in the sub version is Hakai Shin, which would translate as destruction god or god of destruction. They probably went with destroyer because it's the same number of syllables as Hakai Shin, but I digress. Though, speaking of destroyers, I do admit I'm kind of bummed out that Universe 10's destroyer didn't show up in this saga. Like, I might as well just mention it right now. Yeah, Universe 10's destroyer doesn't appear in the Future Trunks saga or the Goku Black saga, whichever you want to call it. Universe 10's destroyer does eventually appear in the show, but not in this saga, and I felt that was a missed opportunity, especially because even though Champa was more the main focus for the Champa saga, Universe 6's destroyer is Champa. Universe 6's Supreme Kai Fuwa still appeared in the Champa saga, even if Champa was more the prevalent focus. So that's why I kind of wish that Universe 10's destroyer still had an appearance of some kind in this saga, but I mean, that's a minor thing. Like I said, I thought it was a missed opportunity, but I still have been enjoying the saga overall still. And otherwise, anything else we can talk about? Oh, right. The interaction with present Trunks and future Trunks was really good. Like, we saw them interact before in earlier episodes, and they can interact in video games too, but this is probably the most extensive interaction between the two versions of Trunks that we've seen so far. And I do think Eric Vale, future Trunks' voice, and Alexis Tipton, present Trunks' voice, they both did really well with this. I still wish Laura Bailey was able to play present Trunks in Dragon Ball Super. She wasn't able to return to the role because of schedule conflicts, but Alexis Tipton still does a great job in the role. So yeah, I thought the voice artists for the Trunkses, they both did very well in this scene. And yeah, it definitely highlights the difference between the two versions of Trunks. Because future Trunks grew up during an apocalypse, and Vegeta was not around in future Trunks' time, and even Bulma became a lot more humble during this apocalypse, or future Bulma, I should say, compared to present Trunks, who grew up during a time of peace for the most part. And Vegeta was around to still influence his behavior. And yeah, present Bulma wasn't really humbled in the same way that future Bulma was humbled. So again, it kind of does show how Trunks' behavior was influenced. Present Trunks' behavior differs from future Trunks' behavior, even though they're technically the same character. I guess, yeah, that whole alternate timelines, how certain things can drastically change a person's personality. It's definitely an interesting thing to study, I guess, or to examine or look over, or whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, the other main thing is with Goku Black and Future Zamasu. That's right, we'll talk about Goku Black's voice here, because after Super Saiyan Rose happened, or after he first transformed into Super Saiyan Rose, people were wondering what would Goku Black's voice sound like in his normal form? Does it change? And yes, Goku Black's normal form voice here sounds different than it did at the beginning of the saga. So it seems like, there was a Twitter post from Sean Schimmel that suggested Goku Black's voice would change over the course of time. And there was a Reddit AMA where Sean Schimmel also mentioned that Goku Black had different voices for his different forms. It seems like both those situations ended up being the case after all, because, yeah, Goku Black's normal form voice sounds different here. Like, I don't know if you want to call it a British accent still, or at least a posh accent, or upper crust accent, or regal accent. That accent does seem more notable in his normal form in this episode compared to before. And when he went Super Saiyan Rose, I tried to pay attention, especially to when he transformed. The accent does seem to be a little bit stronger when he's in his Super Saiyan Rose form. Like, not significantly stronger, but slightly stronger. So it seems like it's similar to how Sean Schimmel plays Goku. Because when Sean Schimmel voices Goku, he gives Goku a different voice for his normal form and his various Super Saiyan forms. So that seems to be the case here with Goku Black, but Goku Black's voice also had been changing over the course of time as well. So yeah, for anyone who was curious, it seems both those different sources ended up holding truth to them after all. Otherwise, I believe that's it for now. So as of this video, we've now discussed episode 59 of the Shin dub of Dragon Ball Super on this channel. Take care, and until next time.